This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Columbia Insurance Agency, serving the Lynn community for over 60 years with home, auto, and business insurance.
On this special edition of the LCTV News, we look at how the city of Lynn is handling COVID-19 as we sat down with Lynn Public Schools Superintendent, high school sports reporter, and Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce Executive Director. I'm Mukala Kabongo, and this edition of the LCTV News starts now. With the spread of COVID-19 ramping up, we looked at how local organizations are helping small businesses. We spoke with Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce Executive Director Colin Codner. Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Lynn Lowdown. With me is Executive Director of the Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Colin, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And yourself?
I am great. Just, adjusting to everything that's going on in the world right now. How has it been for you?
We're entering a new normal, I think is the term that is being used right now. We're working from home, and we have all many of us have encountered a whole new host of coworkers, usually under 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
So that's always an adventure, and how to plan and work around that. But we're getting through.
Yeah, we're getting through. Now, with all the COVID-19 updates that we've been getting, finding out more cases happening, more people getting COVID-19. What can you tell us? What's the Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce? What's their plan? What have you guys been adjusting to? Your day-to-day operations and just everything that you guys do, the adjustments that you guys have made.
Well, at the chamber itself, similar to all the businesses, we're required to be closed. So either exclusively and online only, or work from home business, similar to many of our members. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest impact that we individually are facing. Just re-envisioning how we can build benefits and programs and support programs that have to meet the social distancing requirements that the state has mandated.
Yeah, and you guys have meetings. Is it once a month or once a week or so? And that this kind of dampers the face-to-face meetings that you guys usually have, correct?
Yes, the biggest impact is on our networking programs. Obviously, we have we run over 30 networking events every year, from breakfast clubs to business after hours events to lunchtime programs. These are for the foreseeable future canceled. So this is a significant impact. But we're continuing to come up with creative solutions, such as Facebook Live. Mm-hmm. We've been doing Facebook Live lunch and learns, and we're going to be moving to some Zoom programming as well.
Yeah. And how did it also impact some your future events? Did you you guys usually put on some events during the year, and I know springtime was coming, summertime was coming. You guys had plans. So with the stuff that you guys had planned, with the how did you guys go about canceling those or maybe postponing those?
Well, right now we're really taking our lead from the state. And if you look at several of the state events and the national events, from the Kentucky Derby to the Boston Marathon, these have all been pretty much punted to September. So we're kind of looking at it from that standpoint and saying that the social distancing protocols are going to lighten eventually. We're not going to live the rest of our lives 7 feet away from each other. So we will get back to handshaking and everything else. But again, we're just kind of taking our lead from the state and moving intentionally but cautiously forward.
Yeah, and so going forward, what are you guys doing as far as helping out in the city? What are some things that you guys are trying to do to help as much as you can in the city?
Yeah, right now we're putting on between 2 and 3 lunch and learn sessions per week. These are providing updates. We had a medical professional on earlier talking about firsthand information from a medical professional on the COVID-19 virus. We've had some marketing people talking about e-commerce. We're going to have some people from the banking industry talking about banking and loans. We're going to be having a online session from the SBA, talking about the SBA programs. But aside from that, we are also looking to continue to support the small businesses in our community. Yeah. We are promoting which restaurants are open and offering takeout services. We're putting together a community bingo card that is going to encourage shopping and engagement with a wide variety of businesses and stores right in our region. Mm-hmm. So programs like this, continuing to tell stories of success that businesses are having during these times and innovative solutions that they're coming up with to continue to do business.
Yeah, that is great because during this time, the small businesses are in need of our help, and that is definitely a great thing that you guys are doing just to help them keep the lights on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That is our 100% goal, is to maintain the business ability to do business. As we all know, this will eventually move on, and once we get beyond the social distancing protocols, we're going to be in a period of recovery. Yep. We're not going to immediately bounce back to pre-pandemic environment. And it's in those moments that we're really going to have to be a resource for our small businesses to get them up and running back to their standard levels as quickly as we can.
Yeah, definitely. And lastly, if anybody wants to get any updates or any information on the Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce, please tell them where to go.
Yeah, absolutely. The two things I would recommend is we obviously are posting information on our website, but for one, follow our Facebook page. This is where we're doing constant live posting. We're having programming through our Facebook page. This is probably the best place to go, is just Greater Lynn Chamber through the Facebook. Additionally, I would encourage everyone to sign up for our email listings. This is just through our constant contact list, where we do send out information from that we have on updates from the state or the on the federal side, as well as some updates on programming and the small business community.
All right. Colin, thank you, sir, for joining us. This was very appreciated. Thank you for taking your time and chatting with us.
Absolutely.
All right.
And stay healthy and stay happy. Have a great day.
You too. All right, you guys, that was Colin Connor, Executive Director of the Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce. This was a special edition of the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Mukala Kabongo. We'll see you guys another time.
The Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association postponed the beginning of spring sports until May. We spoke with high school sports reporter and editor Danny Ventura about the postponement of spring sports and look back at the basketball season.
Hello and welcome to another special edition of the Lynn Lowdown. Today we have a special guest, high school sports editor and reporter Danny Ventura from the Boston Herald. How are you doing, Danny?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me a little bit. It's been a wild time since the EMAS championships for high school sports. We had the Eastern Mass Championship games Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursday, and then after that, everything went downhill from that. In your years of covering high school sports, have you ever seen anything like this?
No, nobody expects something like this to happen, and you just feel awful for the kids, that you work hard. In some cases, some teams build for 4 years for this moment, and to have it taken away through, Mother Nature or whatever. The coronavirus. Mm-hmm. And, you feel awful for the kids. That's what you feel for,
Yeah.
There are a lot of people, the parents get upset about it. But, at the end of the day, it's the kids who didn't get that opportunity to finish what they started. I know, speaking in your area, Lynn English was very upset because they would love to have had the chance to repeat as a state champion on the court rather than having to settle for co-champion.
Yeah. Yeah, and it hurt a lot for the seniors too. We saw, there were a lot of seniors that were, the state championship was going to be their last high school game, and that one was the one that really hit home.
Yeah, because with certain kids, some of the top level high school seniors are going to go on to play at the next level, but the reality is most of the high school seniors are not playing college basketball. So as you said, this may very well have been their last competitive game ever, and to have it end through a horrible thing that's going on, the pandemic is just terrible.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on them deciding to have co-champions for the state champions? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think they had much of an alternative. You can't pick one over the other, and I think the MIA kind of got caught in the snowball. The effect, once the pro teams start canceling and then you see the colleges canceling, the NCAA tournament cancels, the MIA could have possibly put themselves on the hot seat if they did allow the teams to go play on Saturday and Sunday. Mm-hmm. And God forbid there were people in the stands that had the virus. And all of a sudden, you're talking possible, lawsuits, things like that. So I think given, the situation they were in, which is pretty much unprecedented, I think it was as good as a decision as they could have made, really.
Yeah, I thought about that too because, at first you'd be upset, but then you have to look at the bigger picture. If you're a student athlete, and also if you're a parent of the student athlete, you got to look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is keeping the kids and everybody healthy and not putting them in harm's way.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, I guess, in a lot of cases. If you're a 15, 16-year-old kid, you get a chance to actually play for a state title. You don't think like that. You don't think, 10 years down the road, they may think, well, maybe it was the right decision. But today, you see it on Twitter, the kids are very upset about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Now, spring sports was supposed to start last week. Am I correct?
That was prior to about 4:00 yesterday. They were hoping to start the season on the 27th, but with Governor Baker's latest edict about no schools to be open prior to May 4th, now you've really got a situation where the spring sports are definitely in jeopardy.
Yeah,
April 27th. It would have been tough. They would not have been able to have a state tournament, but they could have had a sectional tournament. Now you're basically at the point. If everything goes, and you're talking May 4th, only if everything goes perfect, and we don't even know that yet.
Yeah.
We don't know if we've hit the tip of the iceberg yet, or whatever the case may be. But say it is May 4th, you won't be able. You can't start the season before the 11th, so and the season has to end on June 20th. So you're looking to try to do a regular season and some sort of tournament thing in 6 weeks, and it's just. It's not going to work.
Yeah, and it'd be a very condensed regular season if I think
at this point, having spoken to several ADs yesterday in different leagues, I think they're just so desperate that they want to give their seniors some sort of hope that they're willing to do just a 10 or a 12 game regular season and maybe have their own league championship, like in the case of Lynn English, the Northeast Conference.
Yeah,
maybe 10-game schedule and have the top 4 teams play for a championship. Or in some other leagues, what they've talked about, like the Bay State Conference, has possibly talked about hooking up with the Hockomock League. Maybe the top 2 teams in the Bay State, cross over, play the top 2 in the Hockomock, and have their own trophy or something like that. There's a lot of creativity going on. The athletic directors are desperately trying to do something to at least, give the kids something to look forward to in the spring, because right now there isn't a lot of hope out there.
Yeah, and I saw yesterday the state of Virginia canceled school for the whole year.
Yeah, that's where you get into the concern, is because when one state does it, the snowball effect comes in. If they're doing it, maybe we should do it. And then it works its way, and you saw it in the sports. Once one sport decided, that's it, the others start falling in line.
Yeah, this is one year that we're all gonna remember. But
you won't. People aren't going to forget it for a long time for a variety of different reasons.
Yeah. Not considering that there is currently no spring sports, but who were some of the teams that the state that were gonna be the top teams in the state in baseball this year that were gonna make some noise?
I'm looking at my baseball notebook right now. I haven't had a chance to take it out, but a lot of times in baseball, you're looking at the same cast of characters. In your St. John's Prep. The Northeast Conference always has good baseball. You've got a lot of good programs there. It's one of the better baseball leagues in the state. I think sometimes they get overlooked because, you have the Catholic Conference, the Bay State Conference, but the Northeast Conference, top to bottom, is I think it's one of the top 3 or 4 leagues in the state, because you've always got a good core of 5 or 6 solid teams in there every year.
All right. And before we get you out of here, just your overall assessment of this past basketball season. What were some players or teams that really stood out to you this past basketball season?
Certainly, when you deal with the boys basketball, you have to start with the team that, they didn't get a chance to do it on the court, but I don't think there's any question Lynn English was the best team in the state. And I think, when they really wanted to play, that they were clearly, head and shoulders above the field. They certainly proved it at the end. The last 2 teams they beat were top 5 teams. Lowell was an overtime game, but, in the overtime, they showed their class there. Mansfield was a terrific team and really couldn't get anything going against Lynn English in the Garden. So, you look at, the Northeast Conference, it was a successful season for them. Beverly gets to the Garden for the first time. I know they lost to Whitman Hanson, but, anytime you get to the Garden, no matter what happens there, that's a successful season, to go that far. And, kudos to Matt Karakoutis and his program there.
Yeah, definitely one year to remember. Danny, thank you very much, sir, for chatting with us. We really appreciate this.
Oh, my pleasure. Anytime. Thank you.
All right. You have a great day.
You do the same.
All right. That was Danny Ventura, sports editor and high school sports editor and reporter for the Boston Herald. You guys have been watching the Lynn Lowdown. Have a great one.
With high school sports on standby at this time, we look back at high school hoops in the city of Lynn. Governor Charlie Baker announced yesterday that all Massachusetts schools will be closed until May 4th. Previously, school closures were set until April 7th. We spoke with Lynn Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Patrick Tutwiler. Here is this week's Lynn Lowdown.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Lynn Lowdown. This week we have Dr. Tutwiler as our guest. How you doing, Dr. Tutwiler?
I'm hanging in there. Thank you for asking.
Oh, all right. Thank you for joining us. All right. So, a lot has transpired the past couple of weeks with COVID-19. You guys had made the announcement of schools being shut down at the moment a couple of weeks ago. So tell me where we are now.
Yeah, so the Lynn Public Schools initially canceled school on Friday, March 13th. That was actually a day where classes were canceled, but we invited all staff to come in and work in teams, content teams, grade level teams, to develop remote learning content in the event that what looked to be at that point a long-term closure. And at the end of the day on Friday, it was I made the decision in partnership with the mayor to initially close the Lynn Public Schools for a period of 2 weeks until March 27th. And then that Sunday, the governor came out and canceled classes statewide until April 6th, which for us at that time is a total of a 3-week period.
Yep.
And so we one of the greatest decisions ever was to cancel classes on the 13th because it gave time for teachers to work together to develop enrichment activities for families to engage during the closure.
Yeah.
And we immediately set up grab-and-go lunches, which continue to this day at English, Classical, Marshall, and Lynn Tech, Monday through Friday between the hours of 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. For any student, actually any resident in the city of Lynn under the age of 18, all Lynn Public Schools and any resident under the age of 18 are welcome to come grab lunch at those locations. And then we set up a mechanism to support students who might have a mental challenge or an emotional challenge, making sure that those resources got home to families and they knew who to call if the need arose. So rapidly evolving situation, but I think we moved as quickly as we could to satisfy the basic needs of our families, and now we're making plans for going a level deeper in terms of meeting those needs and planning, looking ahead as the closure may extend beyond April 6th.
Yeah, and all your years working in the school systems, have you ever seen anything like this?
Never. Not only have I never seen anything like this in my professional career, never seen anything like this in my life, and some interesting things have happened, but I think, and I've heard it said a number of times, that this situation's really unprecedented. And we are treating it with the level of seriousness that it deserves to be treated, and doing our level best to make sure that families know that the school system is going to be a support resource for them through this.
Yeah, because I would imagine the adjustment for not only the folks that work in the school administration building, but also for all the teachers in the schools, just having to adjust so rapidly. I'm sure there was a big challenge in that aspect.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that. I mean, there are a number of adjustments that folks find themselves engaging with and facing. But I'll tell you, I mean, if you have an opportunity to look at the Lynn Public Schools Facebook page, or if you take a look at the remote learning activities that exist on every school's webpage, the Lynn Public Schools staff adjusted quickly and substantively. I am and continue to be deeply impressed by the kinds of things that the staff is providing for families to engage with their kids during the cancellation. It is not an ideal situation, no matter how you look at it, but I think, and I applaud our staff for what they've done thus far. I mean, they adjusted quickly. They've risen to the occasion and demonstrated, which I have seen on a number of occasions in different ways, just profound commitment to meeting the needs of the students.
How often do you guys communicate with the different schools throughout this process? Is there communications that you guys have daily or weekly?
So it's pretty frequently. I'm regularly sending emails both to staff and some that are appropriate just for leadership. We've taken to using the Zoom platform for meetings. As a matter of fact, as I speak, the deputy superintendents are holding a Zoom meeting with principals. We've got another one scheduled for tomorrow, all principals and all directors. So we are staying in touch, and that's just me with the principals. Principals are also in touch with their respective teams and their respective schools, making sure that teachers are supported and understand what's going on. and the sharing of ideas has been just really incredible. So we have stayed in touch throughout this, which I think is really important.
And one thing that's kind of a burden is for the students who are seniors this year, who are seniors and slated to graduate in June. It's right now is a tough stretch for them because of the uncertainty that they don't know if they're going to have a graduation. I know you guys are not sure yet because of right now school's still canceled until second week of April, but you still got to figure out what's happening going forward. And I know just trying to shed a light to those students, the seniors, that everything's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them are uncertain because this is the last year of high school for them.
Yeah. I mean, we could very easily come up with a long list of students who were set to experience, some of the, more seminal experiences of their K-12 education, whether it's, moving on from, elementary to middle school or, preparing to go to into high school, into ninth grade, or of course, as you just laid out, students who have, are on that graduation track and set to move on to the next chapters of their lives in June. Lots of questions about, what's going to happen, how are we going to pull this off, is it going to happen, period. This is one of the toughest things for me because, I really pride myself on communication, and I pride myself to the extent that I'm able on providing families and students with really concrete, predictable information. This is one of those scenarios where I can't do that. So much is unknown, so much is uncertain. If graduation was in a week, I'd say there's no way we could do it because of the state's rules around large group gatherings. And then in that scenario, I'd want to think about, well, how could we potentially pull this off in an alternative way? I mean, you've probably seen on the news or read in the newspaper how families are, celebrating birthdays with, people driving by or doing a walk by the house with signs. And, there's ways to do things. We would have to be creative, but at this point, we just don't know. We don't know when school will be back in session. Right now, we're set to return on the 7th. I don't get the sense that that's going to happen based on the, incredible spike in the number of cases, the unfortunate reality around the number of fatalities from COVID-19. We're trending in a direction where things are getting worse, not better. So the only thing that we can control right now is to plan and plan for different scenarios. And right now those plans are taking shape. I couldn't convey anything definitive, but I just want to assure you and anybody who's listening or watching that is front of mind for us. We are uber aware of those similar experiences for our students, and we want to try to make sure that we tend to them accordingly.
Yeah, definitely. And and lastly, before we get out of here, for any updates, any concerns that parents may have, where can they go to
Yeah, so I would, and I'm in as much as I'm thinking about my students, I'm also thinking about parents who have sort of taken on a new role, which is teaching in the home. You know what I mean? And the new scenario altogether, and we're all sort of learning together on how to be effective and to support each other through it. I don't have any new updates, but I'd say that on the Lynn Public Schools website, there is a frequently asked questions link. That page we are updating as information is made known or available to us. We also are pretty active on Facebook. I think we've got about close to 8,000 followers there, but I would recommend that those two places are places on any given day where people can not only access information, but also there's a number of activities, particularly on Facebook, whether it's teachers reading stories aloud or phys ed teachers posting a workout routine that students can engage. I mean, those are pretty rich resources for families that I'd ask them to leverage. And we certainly, if there's a substantive change or update, I will do an all call, as well as post to those mediums, both Facebook and our website.
All right. Dr. Tutwiler, thank you so much for joining us and giving us this update. We really appreciate this.
That pleasure's all mine. We'll get through this together.
All right, awesome. You have a great day.
All right, man. Take care, though.
Yep. All right, you guys have been watching the Lynn Lowdown. That was our guest, Lynn Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Tutwiler. Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen.
For any update on closures and other information regarding COVID-19, visit bit.ly Lynn COVID-19. Thank you for watching the LCTV News. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and visit us at lyntv.org to watch any show at any time on your computer, tablet, or phone. I'm Mukala Kabongo. Have a great day.
This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Columbia Insurance Agency, serving the Lynn community for over 60 years with home, auto, and business insurance.